Carlos always knew that his job as a waiter wasn't just about serving food and drinks. In an elegant city restaurant known for attracting a predominantly white clientele, Carlos stood out not only because he was the only black waiter but also because of his unparalleled service and kindness. At 34, he had already accumulated vast experience in hospitality, but it was amidst the carefully arranged tables and the soft glow of pendant lights that he truly discovered the power of empathy and human respect. On a typical Friday, the dining room was full. The murmur of conversations mixed with the soft sound of jazz in the background. Carlos, with the tray expertly balanced in one hand, glided between the tables, his presence almost choreographed. His smile was his most powerful weapon, winning over even the most reserved of customers. "Good evening. May I suggest the house special tonight? We have an excellent saffron risotto with scallops that is divine," Carlos said, leaning in discreetly so only the couple at the table could hear. His manners were impeccable, his attention meticulous, but it was the sincerity in his eyes that truly made the difference. One night, while Carlos was focused on taking an order, he heard a faint noise from the entrance. Turning, he noticed a woman trying to maneuver her wheelchair over the slightly elevated threshold. Without hesitation, he approached. "Allow me to help you," Carlos said gently, smiling warmly at the woman. "Thank you, I really appreciate it," she replied, relieved. "It's my first time here, and I was already regretting not calling ahead to ask about accessibility. We are always here to help, and I guarantee you will have a great experience." "My name is Carlos, and I'll be at your service tonight," he assured, gently pushing the wheelchair into the dining room and selecting a table with easy access. "I'm Simone," she said gratefully, "and I'm already impressed, Carlos." As Carlos adjusted the table to comfortably accommodate Simone's wheelchair, he continued to engage in a natural and interested conversation. "We have a selection of dishes that can be adjusted to your preferences, Simone, and if there's anything else I can do to make your night more pleasant, please let me know." That first contact not only marked the beginning of an unexpected friendship but also reinforced Carlos's view of his role in the world. It was not just about serving but about connecting, about making an environment welcoming to everyone regardless of their circumstances. At the end of the night, as Simone expressed her deep gratitude, Carlos simply smiled, knowing he had done more than his duty, he had made a difference. From that first meeting, Simone began to frequent the restaurant regularly, always on the busiest days to ensure that it was Carlos who would welcome her with his warm smile. Her presence soon became a familiar constant for the other staff and regulars of the restaurant. Carlos, for his part, always had a reserved table for Simone, adapted for her wheelchair and with a privileged view of the place. On a rainy Wednesday, the awning covering the entrance made a rhythmic sound with the raindrops, creating a cozy and somewhat melancholic atmosphere. Simone arrived earlier than usual, finding the restaurant less crowded, allowing for a more intimate setting. Carlos immediately noticed her and hurried to greet her. "Simone, it's great to see you, especially on a day like today. I hope you didn't get too wet," Carlos said as he helped Simone get settled, carefully pulling the chair aside so she could access the table. "A bit of rain never stopped me, Carlos. Besides, I knew your smile would brighten my day," Simone responded with a smile. She felt visibly more comfortable in Carlos's company, whose kindness and attention made her visits to the restaurant special moments. "Today we have a new dish that I think you might like, a salmon and passion fruit sauce with a touch of ginger. It's light and refreshing," Carlos suggested, handing her the menu but already knowing her preferences. "I think I'll trust your suggestion as always, you never miss," said Simone, closing the menu decisively. As the evening passed, Carlos found moments to stop and chat with Simone between his duties. These interludes were filled with conversations about books, music, and the small joys of daily life. Carlos's genuine empathy and interest in her life and well-being created a bond that transcended the usual waiter-client relationship. Have you ever been to the jazz concert in Central Park? They're organizing a special event this weekend. It could be a great experience, Carlos commented, always thinking of activities that could be accessible and enjoyable for Simone. I didn't know about that. Maybe I'll go. Outdoor jazz sounds like a perfect recipe for the weekend. Thanks for the tip, Carlos, she replied, clearly excited about the suggestion. These meetings, marked by the exchange of experiences and laughter, solidified a friendship that became essential for both. Carlos not only served Simone with excellence but genuinely cared about her well-being, demonstrating that small gestures of consideration and personalized attention can have a significant impact on a person's life. Their friendship was a constant reminder of the transformative power of kindness and human care. As the months passed, the bond between Simone and Carlos strengthened. Each visit to the restaurant became an opportunity to share stories and laughter, and even on days when Simone couldn't come, she sent messages to Carlos asking about his day or new items on the menu. In return, Carlos always made sure to update her on restaurant events and new recipes he thought she would enjoy trying. On a spring evening, when the restaurant was adorned with floral decorations, Carlos prepared a surprise for Simone, recognizing how special she had become to him. He reserved the best table in the restaurant, the one with a view of the illuminated garden, and decorated it with some of Simone's favorite flowers. When Simone arrived, Carlos greeted her with a radiant smile. Good evening, Simone. We have a special table for you tonight. I hope you like it, he said, guiding her to the prepared table. Oh, Carlos, this is wonderful. How did you know lilies are my favorite flowers? Simone asked, clearly moved and surprised by the thoughtful gesture. You mentioned it once when we were talking about gardens and flowers. I never forget an important detail, Carlos responded, helping her settle comfortably. And to start your evening, how about your favorite wine? You really know me, don't you? I'd love that, she affirmed with a smile that lit up her face. The conversation that night flowed even deeper and more personally. Carlos sat for a few moments at Simone's table, sharing more about his own life, his dreams, and challenges. You know, Simone, this friendship has changed a lot for me. I've started to see not just my job but my life in a different, more hopeful way, Carlos confided with rare sincerity. Carlos, I feel the same. You brought a light to my days that I didn't even know was missing. Your kindness and attention make all the difference, Simone replied, her voice choked with emotion. The evening continued with more laughter and shared confidences, and both realized that the connection they had went far beyond a simple friendship. It was a true exchange of affection and understanding. As spring gave way to summer, Simone's visits became the highlight of the week for Carlos, and he was the reason she eagerly anticipated each visit to the restaurant. Through this connection, both discovered a joy and comfort that transcended their usual life settings, showing that even in unexpected circumstances, deep bonds can form and completely transform daily experiences. The relationship between Carlos and Simone, which began with simple gestures of kindness and care, developed into a profound and meaningful friendship. They shared experiences and eventually personal challenges and successes, finding in each other an attentive listener and constant support. Simone particularly felt immense gratitude for Carlos, whose company and care brought her immense joy. It was on an autumn afternoon that Simone decided to express her gratitude in a very significant way. She carefully prepared a letter and placed it, along with a set of keys, in a small envelope, determined to entrust something more valuable to Carlos. As she entered the restaurant, her heart beat with a mix of nervousness and excitement. Carlos, I have something special for you today, said Simone as soon as Carlos came to greet her, extending the envelope to him with an enigmatic smile. Carlos, surprised, looked at the envelope and then at Simone, trying to understand the context. What is this, Simone? He asked, curiosity evident in his tone. Please open it. I would like you to read it while I'm here, she replied, encouraging him with a nod. Carlos, with careful hands, opened the envelope, took out the letter, and began to read. Simone's elegant handwriting overflowed with emotion in the carefully chosen words.
Dear Carlos, Over this past year, your friendship has become one of the most precious parts of my life. You have shown me the true meaning of kindness and care, qualities that are rarely found so pure and selfless. Your presence and support have been a beacon of joy and comfort for me. That's why I decided to do something that I know is a bit unusual. I am entrusting you, along with this letter, the keys to my apartment. But it's not just that. I am granting you the management of part of my resources. You have demonstrated integrity and generosity that make me fully trust you are the right person to take care of these aspects of my life in case I am unable to do so. I hope you accept this gesture not as a burden but as a proof of my respect and deep gratitude for your friendship and the positive impact you have had on my life. With affection, Simone.
Carlos, deeply moved, lifted his eyes from the letter, meeting Simone's, who was watching him anxiously. He was at a loss for words, emotionally overwhelmed. "Simone, this is a lot. Are you sure?" he finally managed to say, his voice trembling. "I've never been more certain about anything. You are more than a friend to me, Carlos. You are part of my family now," she responded with touching sincerity. Carlos, still absorbing the depth of Simone's gesture, could only nod his head, emotional. "I will honor your trust, Simone. Always." This moment solidified something deeper between them, something that transcended usual friendship. Carlos felt not just the weight of responsibility, but also the immense warmth of the trust and unconditional affection that Simone offered him. It was a new dimension in his life, one that he embraced with gratitude and a profound sense of duty. After receiving Simone's unexpected trust, Carlos spent a few days deeply reflecting on the new responsibility bestowed upon him. He realized that this trust not only altered the nature of their friendship but also challenged him to expand his vision of his own capabilities and the impact he could have on the lives of others. One afternoon, while setting the table for Simone's arrival, he decided to start a conversation about the matter to reaffirm his commitment and discuss the best way to manage his new responsibilities. When Simone arrived, Carlos greeted her with his usual warm smile. After the initial greetings, he led her to the table, helping her get comfortable before sitting down beside her. "Simone, I've been thinking a lot about what you did for me. I wanted to tell you in person how much it means to me," Carlos began, clearly emotional. Simone smiled, gently touching his arm. "Carlos, I know it was a big step, but I wouldn't have done it if I didn't believe in you. How are you feeling about all this?" "Honestly, I'm a bit nervous, but I also feel honored. I just want to make sure I do everything right. I even thought about taking some courses on financial management to ensure I can take care of your assets in the best way possible," Carlos explained, showing his determination to honor Simone's trust. "That's a great idea, Carlos. And please know that you don't have to do this alone. If needed, we can seek professional advice together." "I don't want you to feel overwhelmed," Simone said, emphasizing that the trust she placed in him should not be a burden. "I appreciate that a lot, Simone, and I'll accept any help you can offer. I want to do this right, not just for you, but also as a way to grow personally," Carlos responded, grateful for her openness and support. Throughout dinner, they discussed possible strategies and approaches for managing Simone's resources, considering investment options and long-term planning. Carlos took careful notes, determined to learn everything he could about wealth management. "Simone, your trust in me has changed the way I see myself and my future. It has given me a new perspective, not just on what is possible, but also on what is important in life," Carlos confessed, looking sincerely into her eyes. "Carlos, your friendship and care have shown me the same," Simone said, holding his hand. "We're in this together, and that makes me feel more secure than ever." That moment reinforced the special bond between them, establishing not only a partnership in resource management but also a deep emotional connection based on mutual respect and growth. Carlos felt that the trust and responsibility entrusted to him by Simone represented a significant transition in his life. He began to see his daily interactions and responsibilities in a new light, recognizing that the kindness and respect he offered in his work could indeed create profound and lasting impacts on those around him. This realization became a source of deep reflection and gratitude. One evening, as the restaurant began to empty and the last tables finished their meals, Carlos and Simone took advantage of the calm to share a more intimate and reflective moment. "Simone, have you ever stopped to think about how many lives we touch every day? Each small act of kindness, each smile, can mean so much more than we imagine," Carlos said as he cleaned the table next to Simone's, allowing himself a rare moment of pause to converse. Simone, smiling as she watched Carlos, agreed. "It's true, Carlos, and sometimes it's precisely that small kindness that makes all the difference in someone's day. Like that time you helped me the first time I came here. You turned what could have been a frustrating experience into something so positive that it made me want to come back." Carlos smiled, remembering that day. "It just shows the power of what we do, doesn't it? Since that night, you've brought so much to my life, more than you realize." Simone looked at Carlos thoughtfully. "You've made me see that there's a lot of goodness in the world, Carlos. Sometimes, when we're caught up in our own routines and challenges, we forget to look around and really see people. I think that's something I've learned even more from you, Simone. The importance of being truly present, not just physically, but with empathy and genuine interest in the lives of others," Carlos responded, meticulously folding the tablecloth. Simone, taking a sip of her water, paused before speaking again. "You know, Carlos, your kindness has inspired me to try to be a better, more considerate person. I hope that in some way, I can pass that on." "You already do that, Simone. Don't underestimate the impact you have. This whole experience with you reaffirmed something I've always believed but perhaps hadn't fully experienced until we met. True unconditional kindness can be incredibly transformative." They continued to talk as the restaurant lights began to dim, enveloped in the tranquility of the moment and the certainty that human relationships are the true fabric that binds society. That night was not just another meeting, but a celebration of mutual growth and the confirmation that each small act of kindness resonates far beyond the moment it is given. Did you enjoy the content we shared today? Then don't forget to leave your like and tell us what you thought in the comments. This helps us know what kind of videos you'd like to see in the future. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, click the subscribe button and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your participation is very important to us.